Is this the end of Project X? Well, if you're trading with any other company besides Top Step, yes, you're no longer going to be able to trade on Project X later on in the start of the new year. If you saw over the weekend, we got this message saying that Project X is going to be discontinuing all third-party prop firms effective February 28th, 2026. So you're going to have the option of trading on Tradivate and NinjaTrader, which I don't think is a bad thing, because I think to only be locked in on Project X and have that as the only option is not the best. It's great to have multiple. So now we're just going to trade on Tradivate. Exactly what I did this morning right on TradingView. I have a tutorial on how to trade on TradingView itself through Tradivate. So if you want to learn how to do that, since you're going to need to know, to go check that out down below. But this was the trade this morning. Now, before we get into my trade, let's just go with ES, as it's just blank, nothing on it yet. Looking at how I normally trade, and all of it is taught on Futures 2.0. You guys can get free access to that down below. This could be a nice long opportunity, right? A bullish open. We're going to let it pull back to this New York VWAP. I'd say first long opportunity would be the bounce off of there. That's where most of my favorite trades come off of. And we know if we're going to trend bullish again, this is the level to be interested at. But I think there was also some people after stream later on trying to long it on the second time I got above, or the third time. Now, this is on the regular trading hours where we just see from 9:30 New York open. It's not a bad way to view the market, but I do like to involve another piece of it of looking on the electronic or the extended trading hours, where you see the entire changeover of day. So when we throw that on, you'll see now the blue VWAP is that New York we were just looking at, and now the black is the changeover of day. Well, to long it off of this New York, any of these attempts, you're below that black overnight VWAP, which I just can't bring myself to do, because that means sellers are still holding this control. Until we get above here, longs are not fully in control. And one more easy thing you could do is just look on the higher time frame or zoom it out. Let's go to the 15-minute. This is where you're looking to long those, right? Does that look super bullish on the day when we had a strong slide pre-market into the open? Yes, the open was bullish. That's these two bullish bars here. But is the trend bullish? Intraday, on the changeover of day, anything, right? Not quite yet. Not enough information to say buyers are in. And even when you look at the way the 15-minute closed, right? Buyers were up here, but couldn't close. We're closing right back on that overnight view up. The next candle starts bearish, and now we're back underneath it. So when you're trying to long it, potentially, you can see that X I drew, you're below that overnight view up. I just can't bring myself to long it because buyers aren't fully in. So just recognizing that full trend. If you go back to last Thursday, this was the longs we played against the view up for sure, but same premise on looking at this strong move down. Rather than jumping on the bottom, I wanted to trade the pullback, but to the VWAP, and then I thought trend would step in. So we made money long, mid-range to top of range once buyers took control of this New York. That's its own setup in itself. But then you go to this next one. This is the longs we just made. It gets to this overnight VWAP in black and continues in the bearish trend we were clearly having, right? So that's the same idea this morning. Yes, we had a bullish pop here, but is it a bullish trend or just the pullback in this bearish trend? It's the pullback in the bearish trend. So keeping an eye on that higher time frame, whether you look at the 15-minute, you can see the hold of it, or you keep it open on this 1 minute, it's the same VWAP. That overnight, you can see we're at that level that to long it, it's not a bad idea to want to look for longs because it was a strong buying open. But just don't be fearful that you're going to miss out. You got to jump in now and fight this VWAP. I hate trading to it when it's that close, right? You see in my trade the day prior, I traded to that overnight VWAP, but with plenty of space. Today, if I'm going to long it to the overnight, it's right there. That's it. You're pinched, you're sandwiched right in between. There's not a lot of great risk reward in that at all. So what I would rather do if I'm brought myself to want to long it, let it move higher above that overnight view up, and then just catch the higher lows afterwards, right? Confirming that the longs are at least in. I want the higher probability setup, not the very first one that could potentially give me a long opportunity, right? If I miss this and it does in fact go higher, all right, well now we're above every VWAP. So now I'm not even questioning if I should be going long or not. I know I should be. So that goes up to NQ here. My short, looking at what I'm saying could have been the long signal, but a lot of people trapped on the longs once buyers take that New York view up or try to. And I've mentioned it a few times. If you notice on the bottom here, the time of day, this is right at the start of a new 15-minute candle, 10:30. So all this rally up at the end of a candle is going to maybe induce a lot of longs saying, oh, we're back above New York. Finally, we're going to go. We're below this. Until we're above that overnight VWAP, buyers are not fully in control. This is probably just the next lower high from back here. And same thing with that one. It's just forming the next lower high because sellers are more so in control today. Now, it's not my favorite setup by any means because I am mid-range or towards the top of it, but it had been buyers. Now I'm looking for sellers to step in. When I do prefer to see buyers step in, let's find more longs, right? I don't like to see longs come in and out to flip it to shorts, even though it's viable, right? It's just not the best setup as full trend. Either was last Thursday's, that one I'm going over. But definitely money to be made, and you have a great stop loss saying, well, if it finally does break these VWAPs and opening range high like I just said, well, I know I don't want to be short anymore. Kill that idea. Now let me look for longs moving up. So you got to be willing to be wrong. I'm not saying this is 100% win rate and this is the best trade ever, but it's worth the risk reward of saying, you know what? We couldn't get above this overnight. We're still holding underneath it. I got to try the shorts because the 15-minute and just the overnight overall was very bearish. So why would I expect sellers to just give up that control? We're probably still in this bear market today. So let's just keep following the shorts. And if I'm wrong and we move higher, I'll pivot to the longs and now trade it in the direction of that trend. So I get out there. You can see the arrows here, trading it right here on TradingView through TradingView. So like I said, if you want to learn how to do that, super easy once you get the hang of it. I have a video on that. You can tap below. But nice exit. It's not the best exit, but just seeing this consolidation, yeah, I'll take it at the bottom. Showing some support there. It would have tapped you at break even if you move it there without removing any profit. So that's obviously not what you want to do. And then there was another shove lower, which thankfully I grabbed some of it as momentum play. So there's a start of a new 15-minute. I'll start that over again. If we bring over this 15-minute, you can see these wicks we were throwing. Also why I got out of the short. Just sellers couldn't keep us down there. So yes, we're below this overnight VWAP. I love that for shorts. But there's not a lot of selling pressure staying down there. Saying, yeah, we're going to trend. So to cover my bases, like I said, take some profits. But now the next time I'm shorting it, we broke out of it. Somewhere in the middle of this candle here. Breaking out of that range. Looking like we want to go get that low of day and break the opening range and initial balance low. So playing momentum. Small little pullback. Let's keep riding. My notes aren't on here. That's not the exit. This is the exit. So it's a very quick scalp right there. But it does go to that opening range low. But it's a nice move, right? You look over here, you're like, yeah, that's probably the place to sell it. It's the overnight VWAP. And same thing we did on Thursday. Looking at the pullback, this is the place to want to sell it. Right? You got big move down, pullback, let's keep going. Same thing today. And like I said, it's all taught on AceFX TV. You can get a first month free if you click the link below. Or just use code FIRST. I break it all down in Futures 2.0 here. And then we trade it live every single morning on stream. And you can see it here today. There's the shorts. And there was all types of guests we have coming on. So make sure you check it out. But overall, pretty ugly day in the way it comes right back up. Now, do we want to chase longs because we're technically above this overnight VWAP, just like we were for 5 minutes, 10 minutes back here? Could be. But is the structure bullish on the day yet? Or is this just another retest to that same VWAP saying, yeah, let's form another lower high and come back down? So hopefully no one got induced into the longs maybe twice. If you tried it earlier, let's clean up this markup a little bit. Go back to the 1 minute, right? If you took the longs somewhere over here and you lose because there's no extension, all right, new low of day. And then no new high of day, just another lower high because we're making lower highs and lower lows clearly. So if you got it caught in a long here, you're longing it at a lower high at a key VWAP. Pretty tough to want to do consistently. So hopefully just keep on looking at that short bias. I'd say the ideal trade would be once you get back below all these VWAPs. I'm not saying sell it up here because you know it's not going to go higher. Of course it could. Just doesn't seem very probable. But once you get below the New York and below the overnight again, now you got reason to believe sellers are fully back in. Go get the next lower low. I mean, it's really that simple. We had a coaching call with our Blackstreet Club members this morning. And my biggest lesson, as you'll see in most of these videos, and especially moving forward, if I can get price at this New York VWAP, I'm interested, right? Because moves happen from here. Even if you long it here, I don't love the long, but even if you long it there, you could make money when you're close to this VWAP. If I now chase the longs away from VWAP, nope, there's no more extension. You're too late. It's not even like you're right on the longs here of us moving higher, but you could scalp some money out if you get close to that VWAP. So that's why I like the short today. Saying, well, if I could short it at this VWAP, I'll pretty quickly know if I'm right or wrong. Because if this goes higher, yep, I'm out. Shorts aren't working. But if they do start to work even a little bit, I got a great price, right? You could even take it to the equivalent of this this was my short here, rather than chasing it when it looks like a new lower low, yes, it would survive, but look how much more stressful and longer it takes than getting at a great price. I can get out in 3 minutes, catching that little pop. Who the hell cares, right? So always focus on that overnight VWAP and the New York, pairing them together. Like I said, with the end of this Project X in the new year, really doesn't matter. I mean, it was fine to copy trade with them. You can still trade if you're trading with that firm. But with Top 1, we'll be transitioning over to Trade and Ninja Trader and trading right here on TradingView. So not the end of the world, pretty easy. It's actually not bad at all. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you need a Top 1 account after this is launched, it's the biggest sale that I've ever been running for Black Friday. So if you need an account, code Evan's always going to run that best deal for you. And I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.